to the channel and welcome to this game of Age of Fantasy Skirmish. This is the first game we've played since we moved to Huddersfield. We moved up here, little realising there was going to be a global epidemic and a national lockdown enforced 3 days after we moved. In spite of all that, I've only just finally got round to sorting stuff out so I can actually start filming another game. So kicking things off with a game of Age of Fantasy Skirmish, which is my favourite of the one-page rule set so far. Really enjoy it. I'm going to be playing as Sky-City Dwarves, and this is 250 points. This is a chemist as my general, and he's been given the Augment ability, which is any friendly unit within 12 inches, as well as himself, gets +1 to their hit rolls and shooting attacks. We've got 3 crewmen. 2 of them are regular with pistols and close combat weapons, but we've also got 1 upgraded with a volley gun. We've got 3 gunners over here. 1 has been upgraded with a double barrel sky rifle and a mechanical parrot, and another one has been upgraded with an organ gun. That thing kicks out 12 shots. And then we've got a flamer, and we've also got, for a bit of speed, because everything has got the slow ability, which means movement is reduced to 4 inches. So to get a bit more movement, a bit more speed, I've taken a balloon warden because he gets the fly ability and also he doesn't have the slow word, so he can actually move 6 instead of the usual 4 for a dwarf. The balloon warden has also been upgraded with a volley gun. So yeah, 250 points of Sky-City Dwarves, and let's go and look at their opponents. AI-controlled warband is 250 points of War Disciples. We have got a Lord of War, who is standard. We've got 6 Gore Reavers, again standard, 2 close combat weapons each. And then we've got 5 Gore Warriors, and they've been upgraded in inverted commas with a free upgrade. So rather than having 2 hand weapons apiece, they've got a hand weapon and a spiked fist each. So that's 250 points of AI War Disciples. And obviously all of these units, for the purposes of the AI rules, are classed as melee units. We've got 4 objectives. 3 of them set up in a line across the battlefield, and 1 is slightly offset towards my deployment zone with the dwarves. The dwarves are set up with the chemist in the middle along with the balloon warden so that he can maximise his additional movement potential, seeing as he can move 6 inches instead of everybody else's slow 4 inches. We've got the organ gun and the flamer gun over here. We've got a crewman there and a crewman here. The idea is they're going to be running forwards or rushing forwards to get to these objectives. And over here we've got a crewman with a volley gun and the gunner with his double barrel gun and his mechanical parrot. And then across on the other side, the forces of the War Disciples have been reasonably well distributed. We've got the Warlord there with a Gore Warrior and 2 Gore Reavers. Over here we've got another 2 Gore Warriors with 2 more Gore Reavers. This Gore Reaver here and that Gore Warrior are actually in 2 different sectors of the battlefield. Simply the way that it got set up. You deploy the AI units as close as possible to an objective, and after these guys had mobbed around this objective, that Gore Reaver could actually get closer to that objective than this objective. And then on the far side there's another 2 Gore Warriors and Gore Reavers. So I'll get the first turn and we'll work out what we're going to do. For my first activation, this crewman is going to rush forward onto objective 4. Now I've got the advantage of ranged power, so ranged firepower, so I want the War Disciples to come rushing towards me into the range of my guns. So if I can nip this guy forwards and secure an objective in the first turn, I think that'll be handy. And there he is, sat just behind objective 4 with an activation marker next to him. And I put him behind rather than front. He did have enough movement with his rush to be able to get in front of objective 4, but I want to keep him reasonably far back so he doesn't get very quickly within charge range of these nasties coming towards us over here. On to the War Disciples activation. War Disciples' first activation will be over on their right flank. Right, now as I said, this Gore Reaver here is actually in the right flank, and this Gore Warrior to the left are all over on their left flank. Now it's either going to be this Gore Reaver or one of these units here that activate, because we rolled a 4, and this is the 4, 5, 6 zone of the battlefield to activate. So because he's kind of equidistant to that objective, as these guys are equidistant to that objective, you then look at who has got the nearest enemy unit, and we've got the plucky little crewman down there. He's actually slightly closer, having measured up to this Gore Reaver, so this Gore Reaver will activate first. With him being a melee unit, their decision tree works in such that he is going to rush forwards towards objective 1 in the centre of the battlefield. So there he is, rush forward onto objective 1, and that should now mean that some of my guns will now have him in range. My activation, I moved this other crewman forwards 4 inches, and he's got a 12-inch range on his pistol, and he's going to take a pop at that Gore Reaver. Crewman gets 1 shot with his pistol. Ordinarily he'll hit on a 4, but because he's within 12 inches of the Chemist's Augment ability, he'll be hitting on a 3. And that's a 4, so it's a hit. And it's AP 1. Gore Reavers have got a defense of 5 up, which will now become a 6 up. And that fails, so the Gore Reaver takes 1 wound. And we roll the die, and we add 1 to it. And if it's a 6 or more, he's knocked out. And so 5 plus 1 is 6, so that Gore Reaver is knocked out. Good start for the Dwarves. Next activation for the War Disciples will be over on their left flank. The next unit they'll activate then will be this Gore Reaver here, because he's actually closest to this objective than the others. So a bit like the other Gore Reaver, he will rush forwards towards this objective, but he's going to head off slightly towards objective 1 in the centre. So he's rushed forwards towards objective 3 and then veered off slightly towards objective 1 as well. So he's still within 3 inches of objective 3 to take the objective, but he's also still carrying on towards another objective. And over on the Sky-City Dwarves, the Balloon Warden has hopped forwards and is going to take a shot at that recently moved Gore Reaver with his volley gun. This will be 3 shots, again hitting on 3s rather than 4s, because it's within 12 inches of the Chemist. And that's 2 hits. The volley gun is also AP 1, so these will be 6 up saves. Both fail, so he's got 2 wounds. And 2 plus 1 is 3, so that Gore Reaver is just stunned, he's not knocked out. Next activation for the War Disciples is going to be over on their right flank again. Okay, over here we've got the Warlord, a Gore Warrior and 2 Gore Reavers. Now the Warlord was actually the model that was set up first out of all of the units, so he will be the one closest to objective 2. Out of these 4 that are still in this half of the battlefield. So he's going to move, which is what I've been waiting for. So just like the other Gore Reavers that have moved so far, the Warlord has rushed forwards 12 inches towards the objective. Now the reason I've been waiting for that is because these 2 guys down here have both only got 18-inch range on their guns. And with 4-inch movement, even if they moved forwards their full 4 inches, they wouldn't have been able to target him because he'd have still been out of range. But with this guy recklessly charging forwards like that, he's now brought himself within range of the this volley gun, this double barrel shotgun and his mechanical parrot. Right, the gunner down here has moved forwards 4 inches just to make sure he is definitely in range of the enemy Warlord, because the parrot has only got a 12-inch range. We'll start things off with the parrot. The parrot gets 3 attacks, Again, hitting on 3s because he is still within 12 inches of the chemist. Now, it doesn't say anything about the augmentability only working on units in line of sight. It just says any units wholly within 12 inches. So he is within 12 inches, so we'll take a pot shot, hitting on 3s with a parrot. All 3 hit. These are AP1. Warlord has got a 3-up defence, so this will be 4 ups. And he fails 2, so he takes 2 wounds. And he's got tough 3. So now he gets 2 shots off his double barrel gun. Again, hitting on 3s, so both hit. And double barrel sky rifle is also AP1. So again, 4 ups. And he passes both of those. So he's taken 2 wounds, but because he's tough 3, we don't have to roll and to see if he's knocked out or stunned. We only do that when he's accumulated 3 wounds. And with the gunner finished activating, the next unit to activate for the War Disciples will be over on their left flank. In a similar situation to what we had earlier, this Gore Warrior here is the same distance from Objective 1 as this Gore Reaver here is from Objective 3. So we activate this Gore Warrior here because there is an enemy unit, the Balloon Warden, closer to him than there is to him. So he will activate and rush forwards towards Objective 1. This crewman with the volley gun is going to activate next. He doesn't need to move to be able to target the enemy Lord of War because he's got a good 18-inch range on that volley gun and he hasn't got a mechanical parrot that he needs to move into range. So volley guns are 3 shots. He's going to be hitting on 3s because he's within 12 inches of the chemist. And all 3 hit. Again, these are AP1, so the Lord of War gets 4-up saves. And he passes all 3. That's a shame. I was really hoping to finish him off in turn 1. And the next unit to activate for the War Disciples will be one of the Gore Reavers, or the Gore Warrior, near the enemy Warlord. Again, Gore Warrior and Gore Reaver are equidistant to this objective, but this Gore Warrior is slightly closer by half an inch to an enemy unit, this one over here, than the Gore Reaver is. So the Gore Warrior will rush forwards to support his beloved leader. So again, he's rushed forward 12 inches towards Objective 2, but has veered off slightly to the left towards Objective 4. Now the Chemist is activated. He's moved forwards and he's going to shoot his Despicable Me fart gun look-alike weapon, which is called a chem rifle, but it does look like a fart gun from Despicable Me, at that Gore Warrior that just moved. He's just within range, just within 12 inches, whereas the Warlord, the Lord of War, is just outside of 12 inches. So, as much as I would like to take out the Lord of War, he's not in range. So, the chem rifle gets 6 shots, and he's within range of himself. Augment says the hero and all friendly units within 12 inches gets +1 to shooting. Now he ordinarily shoots on 3s, but now he's going to shoot on 2s. And it also has poison, so any 6s will multiply that particular hit by 3. And there's a 6, so that'll count as 3 hits. Those 2 fail, but we can keep them in because that counts as 3 hits, so all 6 hit. There's no AP on these, and the Gore Warrior has got a defense of 3 up, so quite heavily armoured. Oh, and he fails 2. So he takes 2 wounds. We've only got 1 in the first place. So 2 plus 3 is 5. That's not quite enough to knock him out, so he's stunned. And the next War Disciples unit to activate will be one of those Gore Reavers rushing up to help support the Lord of War. So this Gore Reaver here is ever so slightly closer to this objective than the other one is, so he's going to rush forward 12 inches, so he'll end up between his Warlord and that stunned Gore Warrior. Right, so the only two units I've got left to activate are these two gunners down here. So we've got one with a flamer, which is 6 shots and AP 1, and we've got one with an organ gun, which is 12 shots but no AP. I'm not going to be able to get either of them in range of the downed Gore Reaver over there, or the downed Gore Warrior over there, which is a shame because I'd like to get rid of the Gore Warrior. All you've got to do when someone is stunned, just have to shoot them or charge them, and they automatically get knocked out. So what I think I'm going to have to do is move the flamer slightly to get this Gore Warrior in range, and hopefully his 6 shots at AP 1 will be able to put him down. And if not, then certainly 12 shots, I would hope, even with no AP, should take care of the Gore Warrior. But I need to be thinning these guys out a bit. At the moment I've only knocked out one enemy unit, and I want to try and force morale. Okay, he's moved up, the flamer rifle gunner, and he gets 6 shots, again hitting on 3s because he's within 12 inches of the chemist. And 2 miss. Those 6s don't mean anything, they haven't got poison or rend or anything like that. So with AP 1 and a 3-up save, that makes his save 4-up. And he fails 2, so he's taken 2 wounds. 2 plus 5, he's knocked out. And the next unit to activate for the War Disciples will be over on their left flank. Same as before. This Gore Reaver is as close to Objective 1 as these guys are to Objective 3. But this guy is closer to an enemy unit, so he's going to rush forwards towards Objective 1. And there he is. And the organ gunner has moved forwards and is now going to shoot at the only thing in range, which is that Gore Reaver. So a 12-shot weapon, just to take out something with a 5-up save, is a bit overkill. I would have liked to have shot him at something a bit more of a challenge, but yeah, hopefully we'll at least knock him out, and we'll then be halfway to triggering morale. So again, hitting on 3s, 1, 2, 3, 4 misses. Again, 6s don't do anything special. So 8 5-up saves. That is 6 fails, so no need to roll a die, straight away he's knocked out. Anything on a 6 plus, so even if we just rolled a 1, he'd be knocked out. And with just enemy units left to activate, I'm just going to get them all moved up rather than roll for them individually, because there's none of my units left to activate. And at the end of turn 1, the Sky-City Dwarves are currently holding Objective 4, whereas the War Disciples are holding 3 objectives. However, they have taken a bit of a beating. They've got one guy stunned over here, another guy stunned over here, and their general has taken 2 of his 3 wounds. Because I finished activating first, I'll get to activate first in the next turn. So hopefully we can finish off that Lord of War and take out some of these guys who are easy targets lying prone on the ground. Right, we're going to start things off with this Thunderer. He's moved over a little bit so that he's still within 12 inches of the Lord of War for all of his attacks, but he's more than 12 inches away from this Gore Reaver for a charge. That's not to say that he's not in range of a charge from this guy, but we'll see what happens. I really want to get this guy finished off, And I think that that Thunderer with his double barrel gun and his mechanical parrot is the best chance to do that, because that would be 5 shots with AP1, which is better than anything else that will be in range. You got the Chemist, he's got 6 shots, but then they've got no AP, although they do have poison, and he hits on 2s rather than 3s, but the armour penetration value comes in quite handy, I think. So because it's pretty much all the same, I'm going to do all the shots from the double barrel gun and the mechanical parrot all together, because they all hit on 3s and they're all AP1. So let's see if we can do it. Oh dear, and there's only 2 hits. So 2 4-up saves. Oh, he fails them both. So he's now up to 4 wounds, the Lord of War. So now we do roll to see if he's injured, and we add 4 to the roll. 4 and 4 is 8, and with toughness 3, 8 is enough to knock him out. Moving on to the War Disciples, their first activation will be over on the other side. Okay, over here it's one of these units. It'll be the one closest to an uncontrolled objective, which will be this one, because he's the closest to the objective that the Sky-City Dwarves currently control, and there is an enemy unit in the way, so he's going to charge the Balloon Warden. Right, the Gore Warrior has got a hand weapon and spiked knuckles. He's also got the Furious rule, which means you pick one of the melee weapons and he gets an extra attack. Now, as odd as it may seem, the way you're supposed to do it is allocate the Furious to the best weapon, which is his spiked knuckles. Seems a bit odd. So that's the way we'll do it. He's going to get 2 attacks with his spiked knuckles, which have rending. That's the only reason it's better than his hand weapon, is because it's got rending. But that is 2 hits, because they are quality 3-up. But no rending, so no armour penetration. Balloon Warden has got a 4-up save. Passes 1, fails 1. So far it's taken 1 wound. And the rules say, whenever they take wounds, you roll to see if he's knocked out. And 2 + 1 is 3, so he's stunned. Okay, and then we resolve the attack with his hand weapon. Now, because it's not a shooting attack and he's not being charged, he doesn't automatically get knocked out, because this is part of the same attack. So if he gets charged again, or if he gets shot at, which is not going to happen because they don't have any shooting weapons, but yeah, if he gets charged again, he'll automatically get knocked out. But because he's not currently being charged, this is part of the attack sequence, we just roll for the attack with a hand weapon. So this will hit him a 3, and that misses. Right, onto my activation. I've just moved that wound die so it's more clear that it's him that's taking the wound and not him. We'll go for the flame rifle, shooting this guy. So this will hit on 3s because he's within 12 inches of the Chemist. That's all but 1 hit. So 5 4-up saves. And he fails 2, so he's taken 2 wounds. So we roll a die, and 1 + 2 is 3, so he's currently stunned and on 2 wounds. So now all I've got to do is either charge him or shoot at him, and he will get removed. But moving on to the War Disciples activation, that will be another model on this side. Okay, the model closest to an uncontrolled objective is this guy, and he's not in charge range of an enemy. He'll be about ½ an inch short, so he's going to rush forwards towards the gunner with the flamer. So yes, he's about ½ an inch too short to be in base-to-base contact. this crewman here has moved around the objective and is going to take a shot at this guy. Hopefully he'll hit, because if he takes any hits from shooting, it'll knock him out. So I need a 3-up. And that hits. Now he doesn't have to take a save, all he just has to do is take a hit, so he's now knocked out. And if we take out one more, that will be half the warband gone, the enemy warband gone, so then morale will be a thing for them. So the next activation for the War Disciples will be over here. One of these two Gore Reavers. Okay, this guy is the closest to an uncontrolled objective. He's a melee unit, there's an enemy unit in the way of the objective, so he's going to charge. And he's got 2 hand weapons, which are 1 attack each, plus he's got the Furious, so he gets 1 extra attack, so this will be 3 attacks hitting on 4s. And 2 hit. There's no AP, crewmen get a 5-up defense. So that 1 fails, so that crewman takes 1 wound. So 4 plus 1 is 5, he's stunned. And then this guy can consolidate 3 inches onto that objective, which is not good. And this might be me being slightly reactive, but the general is still within 3 inches of that objective, so he needs to blast that guy off with his fart gun. So 6 shots in on 2s. And they all hit, no poison. 6 5-up saves. And he fails 5. And 5 plus at least 1 from a d6 roll would be a 6, so that guy is dead. Right, so that will trigger morale for the enemy warband at the end of the turn. And the next activation for the War Disciples will be on the other side again. Okay, so one of these two guys, again it will be the one closest to an uncontrolled objective, which is the Gore Reaver. He won't be able to get into charge contact with an enemy unit, so he's going to rush forwards around here towards this ongoing melee. So he ends up just here. Okay, for now I think I'm happy for that traffic jam to carry on building up around that junction. Whereas over here, I would like to get rid of the last remaining threat on this flank, I think. So the crewman with the volley gun is going to move forwards and take a shot at that Gore Reaver whilst moving towards that objective. Right, so he's moved forwards 4 inches towards the objective. He's not within 3 inches of it at the moment, but on the next turn he should be able to rush forwards and take it. As long as we can kill this Gore Reaver now. 3 shots hitting on 3s. And all 3 hit. AP1, which means 6-up saves on the Gore Reaver. All 3 fail, so that's 3 wounds. 3 plus 3 is 6. He's knocked out. Okay, these are the only 2 enemy units left to activate. The guy who's stunned will always activate last, so that means that Gore Warrior is going to rush around the corner towards the traffic jam. And he's ended up just here. Right, what I'm going to do is, I've got loads of units left to activate. Well, I say loads. This guy hasn't activated, this guy hasn't activated, and the Balloon Warden will activate last, and all he'll be able to do is stand up. So what I'm thinking of doing is the gunner with the organ gun is going to take a step backwards and split 6 shots into him and 6 shots into him, and see if we can't at least stun them. That will then leave a bit of a, certainly if we take care of him, that will leave a passageway clear for this guy to charge through and take out him. That's the thinking. Let's see if it works. Okay, the gunner's moved over a little bit, and we'll start with 6 shots into this Gore Reaver. 6 shots hitting on 3s because he's still within 3 inches of the chemist. That's pretty good. All 6 hit. So there's no AP on these, so 6 fire up saves. And he saves 1, so he takes 5 wounds. 5 plus a minimum of 1 on the d6 will be enough to knock him out. And then the other 6 shots going into the Gore Warrior. Ah, look at that, 3 misses. Okay, so 3 hit, 3 up saves, fails 2, so he takes 2 wounds. 2 plus 1 is 3, he's knocked out. Stunned. So we lie him down. Okay, so the only unit left to activate now is this guy for the War Disciples. Now, because he's stunned, it's my understanding that all he can do is stand up. So he stood up. For my next activation, this crewman is going to charge this Gore Warrior, which will simply knock out the Gore Warrior. And it's my understanding now that he can now still do that 3-inch consolidation move towards Objective 1, because of the 2 models involved in that charge / melee, one of them was destroyed, so the victor can consolidate 3 inches. So he makes it up the field towards Objective 1. And then my last activation will be the Bloom Warden can get up, because he was stunned, but he keeps his wound. And that is the end of turn 2. And at the end of turn 2, the War Disciples have lost more than half of their warband, so they now need to take morale, which is a quality test. So this guy and this guy will automatically fail because he's stunned, so he gets routed. This Gore Warrior has got a quality of 3 up. That's a 4, so he passes. And then the Gore Reaver has got a quality of 4 up. And that's a 5, so he passes. Both of these units are on the same flank. The Gore Reaver is slightly closer to this objective than this guy is, and currently, by virtue of this crewman, the Sky-City Dwarves currently control that objective, so the War Disciples have lost control of that objective. Now, both of them are melee units, but as I say, the Gore Reaver is closest, so he'll activate rather than the Gore Warrior. Now, the decision tree is there an uncontrolled objective? Yes. Is there an enemy in the way? No. So you're supposed to rush towards it, the uncontrolled objective, but to me it makes sense that he would actually charge this guy here, because he's in charge range. So that's what we'll do. He'll charge, because even if he charges, he'll still end up controlling that objective, because he'll still be within 3 inches of it. So that's what we're going to do. So he's charged, he's got 2 hand weapons with Furious, so that'll put him up to 3 attacks, hitting on 4s. And that wasn't a good place to roll those dice, but only 1 hits. Crewmen have got a 5 up save, which he fails, so he takes 1 wound, and he's stunned. On to my activation. Again, do I put 12 shots with no AP into him, or 6 shots with AP 1 into him? I think we go on the basis of victory goes to he who rolls the most dice. So this guy is going to put 12 shots into this guy after he moves around a little bit. 12 shots hitting on 3s because of chemistry. And 3 miss. Again, 6s do nothing special. So 3 up saves. And that is 4 fails. 4 plus 5, yeah, he gets knocked out by all those lead balls or whatever they're made of blasting into his face. And there's no more War Disciples units to activate, so that leaves me to activate the rest of my units. Okay, my understanding is that once a unit has been stunned, it's stunned until the end of its turn, and then all it can do is get up, which is what happened with the Balloon Warden. It got up and it still had a wound left. And after that, it keeps its wounds and it can then activate as normal. So he's hopped up and over 6 inches, and he's now going to shoot at the Gore Reaver. And that's 1 hit. 6 up save, which it saves. The gunner with the flamer has moved forward 4 inches and is now going to shoot at the Gore Reaver. Still within 12 inches of the chemist, so hitting on 3s. And that is 3 hits. 6s do nothing special. 6 up saves. Makes 1 fails 2, so it's on 2 wounds, plus 1, it's stunned. Over to this flank, this crewman is going to rush forward onto that objective. And then back over here, the chemist has moved round and he's going to shoot 6 shots from his fart gun into that Gore Reaver, hitting on 2s. So that guy's now toast, smelly toast. So then there's nobody left to stop me. In turn 4, this guy can simply move forward and take that objective. And that will leave the Sky-City Wardens in control of 3 objectives and the War Disciples in charge of 1 objective. Okay, so Sky-City Dwarves work really well, especially if you give them this guy who gives them +1 to hit for ranged attacks while they're within 12 inches of him. Yeah, you do need a bit of speed in there, I think, but being able to take out an all melee army with an all shooting army from range is pretty good. I wouldn't have liked to have played it the other way round, I don't think, but we shall see. Definitely, of all the 1-page rules solo games that are out there, this is definitely still my favourite. It's nice and simple and quick. I do think it's better and easier if you do have a line of objectives going across the middle of the table. It makes the rules slightly easier to follow. When you're setting up the AI objectives, when it's their turn, the AI turn to place an objective, they have to go in the middle of like a block, but in the middle depth-wise, so they do end up being in the middle of the table. Whereas your own, you can place them closer to your own deployment zone as long as they're more than 9 inches away from another objective. But you don't always know which deployment zone you're going to end up with. So having a line of objectives across the middle of the table is the way to go, I think. And yeah, I'm looking forward to having plenty more skirmishes with a variety of different factions. I want to get my orcs out again. I do enjoy my orcs. But I've also got some goblins and a troll I want to play with, and put in some demons. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having another few games of this in the future. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Please continue to stay in and stay safe. The last time I did one of these bat reps, there was a storm blowing outside, and now there's a worldwide epidemic of a virus going round. But yeah, stay in, stay safe, and God bless.